Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Four here. Today we are back to cover a deck that I was seriously not meant to afford because if you've checked Yuite Big Web Drajeweled, the triple red version, he's 3k yen. This is 2k 500 yen. So of course I can't afford a deck that literally is worth 3 times my salary. So today we have Nippon's best Drajeweled player here to present his deck.
Sup? Hi.
So as you can tell, one is rich, one is not. We are gonna cover Drajeweled. Drajeweled is a deck that came out in set 6, but it's incomplete. Now it's fully complete and it is destroying the Japanese economy, just like the housing crisis. Very frankly, it is a deck that I'm quite mixed upon. I feel that it certainly has all the components of a good deck. Yeah, no counter charge, but frankly you can do without it, and it has great kill potential. You just need to be wary of overcommitment as well as your overspending. You have an issue. But yeah, so today we are going to actually cover this deck in its entirety and what we feel is one of the best ways to build it for set 7. Moving forward, in terms of how they can put support on this deck, frankly, I have zero clue. But yeah, let's see how it actually goes around. So for the right deck, we played Drajeweled Draco Kit, Power Gem. What's this guy's name?
That's not Power Gem.
That's not Power Gem.
That's Crystal Core.
Jewel Core. Then this is Drajeweled.
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 Yeah,
And then this is Drajeweled.
Yeah,
Okay. So yeah.
Yep, so just Kickstarter. Really cute.
Yep.
Then
But it's not him, right? It's just different jeweled dragons, right? It's not like the same guy growing up.
yeah, I don't think so.
Because like Youth is like the same guy going from like kid to, loser. But like this is like different
Edgy boy,
dragons.
edgy boy.
Edgy.
Yeah,
3,000 yen edgy boy.
I don't know. I don't read the lore as much. Core doesn't do anything on Vanguard Circle. But then Drajeweled, what its skill is that when it's ruled upon by Drajeweled, it can come out.
Does it specifically state Drajeweled?
I believe so. Yes, it does.
It does.
Yeah, you have to play the right line.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or else every other Dark States has got to abuse it.
Yeah.
It's really good because
13k beater.
yeah, its rear guard skill is basically when it's attack or boost, it plus 5k, and goes to sword at the end of battle.
That's so good.
Yep. So then for your grade 2 Drajeweled, it has a Vanguard and rear guard ability, whereby on hit from the Vanguard, you can soul charge one.
Nice.
Simple, very simple. Its second skill is that when you write a Drajeweled name on top of it, you can soul charge 1. And you have 3 or more different grades, which means you definitely will.
You will, as long as you don't soul blast anything.
Yeah, 0, 1, 2, then you draw a card.
Nice.
Very simple. Yeah. Then Drajeweled, the star and the very expensive card.
3,000 yen.
3,000 yen. Yes. So it has its trial deck skill as well, which is the hallmark skill of sorts. When it attacks, you may soul blast 4 different grades, and your opponent becomes 1. Wow, dust indeed. Wow. And then if your opponent's grade 3 or more, it has plus 1 crit.
Damn, force 2.
Force 2! Yes, the new Vanguard ability that it gets from Dbt07 is that it can counter blast 1, you can soul charge 2, and if those 2 cards you soul charge out of 2 different grades, you may draw a card.
Okay.
So it's just to solve a bit of the problem that this deck has, which is hand size, a bit small sometimes, so this helps. It can also combo with another card you'll see later, one of the big staples in Dark States.
Yes.
Hint. But yeah, so that's the entire right line. Not bad. I think it's a not bad right line. Quite consistent.
I think the question would be, why don't you play the trial deck version?
Well, I think
like in the right deck or the main deck. Is the Persona right worth playing the extra copy, or do you just want the CB skill? I mean, especially given that Drajeweled doesn't want to use that much CB, he wants to save it for its killer pieces. But yeah, that's definitely a question for you.
and that's definitely true that you do want to have as much CB as possible, especially for Rock Girl.
Yeah.
But sometimes you do need draw. You do need to find certain pieces. Sometimes you do need to dig into your deck to get that other copy of a grade in. So the biggest problem for this deck, as for its combo, is to get grade 3 into its soul. And sometimes you do need to dig your deck. So having that consistently is nice. Having draw is nice. And so I don't play the trial deck version. It's definitely an option if people out there do want to play it, find it's better. I think it's not a big problem. But I do play this version as the right deck because I do want to play other cards in the deck as well.
Yeah.
I don't think playing another Persona right actually makes a lot of sense when you do want to balance out the ratios.
The value.
Yeah, and the ratios of the deck is very important given the soul charging mechanics. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense for me. Alright, moving on to our grade 3s. We play 1 copy of Big Drajeweled for the right deck, and then 3 for the main deck. Then we play 4 copies of Ristal Gala, and then we play 2 copies of Merciless Count Botis. So as you can tell, we are not attempting whatsoever to try the fun tech of playing Grade 4 Bruce. We are not trying it. Drajeweled, we play 8 at 4 because the Persona is just good. Why not? If you've already spent 3,000 yen, why not spend another 9,000 yen, right?
That's right.
Merciless Count Botis, he's from set 6. He's a pretty interesting card. He's the innovator of the world-renowned Piss combo for Dark States. But what exactly does he do?
Right, so for Botis, his skill is when you Soul Blast 2 or more cards at the same time for cards cost. This card gets power plus 5k.
Alright.
If you Soul Blast 3 or more, you may counter blast 1, choose a card from your drop and put it to Soul.
Oh.
Then you may choose up to one of your opponent's rear guards with the same grade as that card, and you may retire it.
So he sounds pretty good for Drajeweled then.
Yeah, it's just a targeted retire and plus 5k is an 18k beater.
I mean, he can slide stuff to Soul.
Yeah, it fixes your Soul count, fixes your specific grade count actually.
Yeah.
And then just has a plus 5k.
Looks like I'll play this in Transworld also.
Motor!
And last but not least is Ristal Gala.
Yeah, so Ristal Gala is another simple card. Ristal Gala, what it does is that when this card attacks, if you have Soul Blasted 4 or more cards due to a unit's ability,
Yes.
you may choose a card from your hand and put it to Soul, and then you draw a card. If you do, you can choose one of the units and retire it for your opponent. Yeah,
Nice.
just a retire, cycle through your hand, and fix your Soul you really need to.
Okay.
So it's generally a good card.
Sounds good. Moving on to the grade 2s, we play 1 copy of Jewel Need. Then we play, that's for the right deck, 4 copies of Rock Augur. Then we play 2 copies of, I can't remember what this guy was. Then we play this one also from the trial deck. It's the expansion set, and then 2 copies of Malbreed. Okay, so looks pretty simple enough, but what exactly does it do? Jewel Need is for the right deck. I don't have to explain this one. This card is really interesting. It's a lot like Toga Chirashi. When discarded during your turn, you can actually just slide into the Soul. So when you discard it for right deck, you just instantly just put a grade 2 in the Soul, and there's a job well done.
Yep.
Simple as that.
It's a very nice
You
card.
may want to play more, but I would say it's not bad.
Another interesting note for that card actually is that I do play it also in case I do need to rush my opponent. Like
because if you don't need it around, you can just throw it down to 10k body to beat.
Yeah, it's just 10k body and you don't feel pain for like losing it. Just slap it against your opponent. Early game. Yeah.
Then we have Malbreed. Malbreed, when placed on the regular circle, count blast 1, choose a card from your drop zone and put it into the Soul, and then he gains 10k. So you can use this early as turn 2 for 20k attacker, and he helps to set up the Soul for your different grades. So honestly, it's a great card for any deck that needs specific cards, specific names, or hell, just different. So you can even play this in Chaos. But other than that, yeah, it's just a nice card, but after it's on plays, it's really kind of useless. So yeah, do keep that in mind. It's a nice card though.
Just use it really just in case you need numbers or you need to fix your Soul.
Moving on is this one.
Ultrasound Shiri. I don't pronounce that.
Shiri, I think.
Yeah. So this card, what it does is when this unit is placed on rearguard circle from hand, you may counter blast 1, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, and choose a card from among them and put them into your Soul. Put the rest into your deck, shuffle them, and your Soul has 4 or more different cards with different grades, draw a card.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, so it's just targeted Soul Charge from the top of the deck.
But it's on place again.
It's on place.
So,
yeah. Again, if somehow...
And it's linked to counterblast.
Yes! Very heavy, very, very expensive.
Yeah.
This again is if early, you can get 4 or more different grades early enough in the game, you can actually play this quite early. Get some hand. But yeah, it's just again fixing grades, bit of draw here and there.
Yep. Next we have the star of the show, Rock Augur.
Rock
The
Augur.
2.5k yen card. Really good card. It is a must play in Drajeweled. Even if you can't afford the big Drajeweled, you must pay for this one.
Yeah.
May even see play Transrotor.
Yeah.
For the very rich. But what does it do?
Rock Augur's skill is, for its first auto skill is once per turn when this card attacks. If you have 4 or more different grades in your Soul, it plus 10k, so it's a 20k beater. Then its second skill is the style of this card is actually that when your Vanguards actually Soul Blast 4 or more, and your opponent on grade 3 or more, you can counter blast 1 and send this card.
Oh.
They gave Drajeweled the Restander. That we saw on episode 2 of Wordress.
Yeah, but they delayed it for so long.
Yes.
But now we have it, and it's a good card.
Yeah, and also forgot to add, actually the first skill, you also need to have your opponent on grade 3.
Yeah. Thank God, or if not, this would be
Yeah, so it's locked on grade 3, but yeah, it's a really good card.
So I would say Rock a Girl is more for the end game then. You should be keeping your Rock a Girls to put it on the end game and you beat him up, and there's no way he'll defend it because you're down to 1.
Yeah.
Whereas putting this on your turn 3 turn is likely going to lead in you overcommitting, unless you can guarantee that Rock a Girl stays alive.
Correct, yeah. So this card is basically your end game.
Yeah.
I mean, though early, but it's basically your end game. If you can't use Rock a Girl to kill your opponent, you should be using Ristle Galers or Boltusses to basically control your opponent.
Out first before you go into Rock a Girl.
Yes, correct. Get some resources, control them a bit before you go into Augur next turn.
Yep, sounds good to me.
Yep.
And you have plenty of other grade 2s like Mulberry. Those are also good options you can throw on the board.
That's right.
Moving on to our grade 1s, we play 1 copy of this is what was his name?
Jewel Core.
This is Jeweled Core. Then we play 4 copies of Falcate Performer, 3 copies of our Perfect Guard, and 1 copy of this. And then we play 3 copies of Brainwash Swirler. I'm very sure a lot of you will be very upset right now.
Oh no.
But
Brainwash.
It's for good measure, I assure you.
Yes.
So let's break it down real quick. Jeweled Core is obviously for our right deck. Don't have to explain much here. We play 3 PGs and one of the order, because it's just PGs. You can't afford it, it's fine. You can still play for regular order. Falcate is obviously here just to fix the soul, because when he boosts, you can choose a card from your grade. You can choose a card from your drop zone that has a grade that's not on your soul and move into your soul.
Yep.
So it's a free selective soul charge during the bell phase when you're trying to recuperate. And you can use it early as turn 1.
Yeah.
It's really fine. Not sure why you have a card different grade on turn 1, but you get the point. You can just discard grade 2, chuck it in. You can just start Falcate from there. It's your freest, best, no counterblast, no Crescent Zars. You can play this in literally any Dark States deck, I would guarantee, and it's nice.
This is actually one of the most pivotal pieces of this deck.
Drajeweled, yeah.
Yeah, because
it saves Drajeweled as a safety net.
Yeah, it basically makes sure that even after you Soul Blast out cards for the first Drajeweled skill, if you have another turn, you can use this card to recuperate some of the grades back. And when you talk about the early game, you can actually just discard a grade 3 that you don't need early game and just put it into Soul with Falcate.
Yeah, sounds
So
good.
Falcate is just very, very free. Very good card. Yes.
Okay, next up is Brainwash Swirler. Yeah, because this card, that one.
Yes, Brainwash Swirler, I think many people know its skill. Very staple piece in Dark States. Its skill is very simple. When this card is placed on Rearguard Circle, Soul Charge 1. The second skill is the crazy one, whereby if your opponent is grade 3 or greater, when you Soul Charge a card, this card gains plus 5k every single time.
Damn.
Yeah. So it's just to increase the power gain of this deck, other than your Rock a Girl or your
But it needs your Vanguard to be grade 3. Your opponent Vanguard needs to be grade 3. Your opponent's Vanguard no need, to gain the 5k. So it's only like your turn 3 onwards for you to use Brainwash Swirler. I mean, you wouldn't call Swirler, right?
No, you won't. Actually, you're only when you're grade 3. So yeah, so that's
actually it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, you mainly use this behind Drajeweled just for the column, but even so, you can just put it around anywhere just for the power. The only issue is that he doesn't gain that much power as he would in, say, Bruce or Burrow, because you don't soul charge it often actually.
Yeah.
It's just here and there. If you want to, you can. And also the fact that you don't really have much other cards to play in this deck.
I mean, this card is basically just if you have when you can put it to the back row, then this card basically become a 23k booster with its own. Well, on the turn you place it, soul charge 1 from your own skill plus 5k. Then with Drajeweld's Vanguard skill to soul charge 2.
So yeah,
plus 15k. Yeah, so it just helps to give that center core a bit more pressure. That first hit for your opponent to be on 1, having 2 crits and a bigger number to hit it. In general, it's 36k, I would say.
So it's not that bad.
It's not that bad, it's just pretty nice.
But if you can't afford it, it's really fine.
Yep.
Moving on to our grade 0s, we play our starter, Duelist Draco Kit. We play 4 effect crits, 4 effect draws, 1 Dark States OT, and then we also play an assortment of 3 other crits also, and then we play a split of some counter heals and regular heals. So it's just a complete mess in our trigger zone, but all for good reason. Duelist obviously is for the right deck, don't have to explain him. The DSOT is just the Dark States OT, it's simple as that. Effect draws, we do need cards to slide into the soul, so you might as well just play these. You also need other crits, so just play your crits. Drajeweled does benefit from zeroing in the Vanguard. Draw, because Drajeweld is a very piece-relying deck, so it's nice to see some form of draw power. We play crit effect triggers. Yes, we play the one that gains power if your attacking unit is 2 crit. because, as you probably guessed, this is the meta. So you need to be prepared for a nice old thing called the mirror match, and also because of other things out there that have 2 crit, so you might as well just carry this around and we play 2 normal heal because
Consistency.
there are times, consistency. There are times where you don't actually need this 10k shield for the rest of the game, so you might as well just be prepared.
Yeah.
Yes, and that actually wraps up our Drajeweled deck profile. You can tell it's really simple, and on one hand, it seems like zero thought was put into it. But frankly, I think Bushiroad had the same idea. You literally just recreated dust, and then you just built an engine around it, and then you gave a restander. Frankly, there's not much you can talk about in terms of interactive design. But it is nice to see that such a deck has been built. First of all, this aesthetic is like literally not even possible
Top tier.
in V series or in G or anything. This was strictly a D thing that they could actually pull this off fully. Yeah, and I'm glad that they've actually recreated the whole body fight idea as well. This technically is a very body fight looking esque dragon.
Bringing it back, boys.
Yeah,
Bring it
it's
back.
nice. It's nice overall. I would say that this is definitely a deck worth picking up if you could somehow afford the millions of yen needed for this. And is this deck rewarding for what it's worth? I'll say yes. Drajeweled is definitely worth it in terms of if you are playing this deck competitively, if you could somehow afford it. Yeah, I would say it's totally fun if you know how to pace yourself with your Rocker Gurst, your Counterblast. It's certainly worth not sleeping over. But if you're looking for a competitive deck or you just don't have that much money, then I would say this is probably your skip. In my opinion, if you are planning to buy the Drajeweled trial deck in the hopes that you would like to move up and just upgrade the deck, moving forward, I would say your number 1 priority is easily going to be Rock or Gur, and then your second priority is definitely going to be Falcate. These are definitely the 2 cards you want to be picking up from this set. Everything else in the deck is either low rarity or completely optional. And that does include the big Drajeweled. Very frankly speaking, the CB1 skill is a skill you use very, very often. Like, not often, very, very little.
Conservatively. Yeah.
Conservatively. I mean, in terms of your combat priority, this thing is probably the lowest.
Right, yeah.
So, very frankly, you just don't want to play this. The rest of the support is either really low rarity or just in your trial deck. So, yeah, that's pretty much about it for Drajeweled. Thank you all so much for watching. Any thoughts for us?
Yeah, this deck it's fun to play. I think it definitely is a deck that you need to test out yourself and see if you enjoy it. But definitely competitively, it needs a bit more work, some more support maybe, but it's a fun deck.
I mean, we'll probably see some support at 9 or 10.
Hopefully.
Yeah, who knows?
Maybe give it the second section of dust ability. D1 damage.
D1 damage? Oh, come on, man. Maha again.
Maha again!
No,
Let's
I
do it.
don't want to play against Maha again. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.